It's the 4th of July, and odds are you're going to be setting some fireworks off. But how can you ensure that your celebration is safe? We have Dr. Matthew Bozeman and Michelle Broers with U of L Health to teach us a thing or two about fireworks safety. Thank you so much for coming in today. I know this is not the best topic to talk about, but we have to ensure that people are safe with their sparklers. I know growing up, I always had sparklers as a kid and like glow sticks and all of that for 4th of July, but I'm sure you guys have seen some things in the ER. So how can you really be sure that kids, parents, really anyone with fireworks can be safe tonight?
You want to start?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and start. I mean, sparklers, most of the time, as you mentioned, you used them when you were a child, and a lot of people do still use them, but they underestimate how hot they are.
Yes.
They can be anywhere between 1,200 and 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit, enough to melt some metals. So it's very important to supervise children very, very closely, wear gloves maybe even when you ignite them. That's one way to really be careful and watch your kids.
Yeah, some of the things that, I mean, last year alone, there was 9,000 people seen in ERs across America with firework-related injuries, and 3,000 of those were kids younger than 5. So that means there's a lot of kids handling sparklers. I think there was 700 sparkler injuries alone. You know, usually it's burns to hands and fingers and things like that in little kids, but if we're talking more generally, you know, it needs to be an adult setting up the fireworks. It needs to be someone who's not intoxicated, which, you know, July 4th weekend sometimes tough to do, and almost half the firework injuries that occur nationwide every year occur on July 4th weekend, which kind of makes sense. If anybody's ever tried to sleep through July 4th in the city of Louisville, there's fireworks going off all over the place.
Everywhere.
And, you know, some of the more dangerous ones, obviously, are ones that you light and then you wait for it to go off. One of the biggest things is if it doesn't go off, don't go over and look at it or pick it up or anything like that. Most of the time, we recommend like submerging it in a bucket of water, like spray it really well with a hose and then submerge it in a bucket of water and then throw it away. Don't try to relight it. Don't try to fix the problem.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Never hold them in your hand. The majority of injuries are actually facial injuries and hand and finger injuries, which kind of makes sense. You're looking at it or you're holding it and it goes off in your hand or in your face. And so luckily, you know, we haven't had many people that have been killed by fireworks, but we have seen in the last 5 years, 30 people get admitted, which means they were injured enough that they needed to have operations done and things like that from firework injuries at U of L.
Yeah, so of course that is the, you know, terrible end of the spectrum, but what are some safer options, or what are the safest fireworks to use during today and this weekend?
If you handle them correctly, there are pretty much all of them will be safe. Like none of them are designed to trick you or trap you.
Right.
But the biggest thing is having distance away from them, having a safe area where like a house is not going to catch on fire, it's not going to have a chance to land, you know, somewhere where it shouldn't. And then usually the recommendation is like one person lighting them, usually the person most experienced. You don't want 10 different people with matches running around lighting off fireworks all over an enclosed area, so they might be going off unexpectedly. And then have one central area and have buckets of water and a hose and things like that available to put out fires. If you do happen to get burned, we recommend cool running water only.
Okay.
People oftentimes make the mistake of thinking that butter, mayonnaise, different other agents you can have around the house. Yeah, 100%.
Like, what is that gonna do?
It can make the burn worse because it kind of traps heat and reduces the ability of the skin to perspire correctly, I guess the best way to put it. So you get a big dose of butter over the top of a burn, it's going to continue to burn. So 15, 20 minutes of cool water running over it. If blisters and skin starts immediately coming off, that's when you need to start calling for help, especially facial injuries, injuries to the eye, things like that. Either call 911 or come to the U of L ER to be evaluated.
Yeah, that is something that, of course, we don't want any of our viewers to experience, especially those young kids. I just can see, I mean, people are just out celebrating and they just don't think about it. So if you were just to give a checklist of like three do's, 3 don'ts, when it comes to fireworks, what would you say your best ones are?
If you're able to go to a public event display, that's probably your safest bet. But if not, make sure you do have those that are legal, that you're not using any illegal fireworks, and you keep the water next to you. You set them on a flat surface, as Dr. Bozeman mentioned, and keep that water present and keep everyone far enough away distance.
Yeah, everybody wants to see the biggest and best fireworks, but if it's something Uncle Dan built in his garage, it's probably not the safest thing to set off in your backyard. We've seen that. We've seen that
We have.
multiple times.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is the last thing you want to do is have an ER visit
Yes.
when you're celebrating Independence Day.
Yes.
That's correct.
Well, thank you so much for coming on today. Again, some really great tips for our viewers. So again, dial 911 if something serious occurs tonight. But if you just want some general information about U of L Health, just go to their website on your screen, uoflhealth.org.